This video is a follow-on from the previous 3 videos dealing with the recent bank failures in America and the Credit Suisse UBS debacle in Switzerland. A number of world leaders went on TV trying to reassure people and allay fears, including the US President Joe Biden. I found this slightly funny. Call my amusement gallows humours if you like. But anyway, in fairness though, what else could the old codger say if he were to actually tell the truth and say that there was a very real crisis in the banking sector, that there was a looming debt disaster, bond bomb, that we were in the midst of a currency crisis, that the dollar as we know it today was doomed, that it has no real value, that inflation wasn't going to go away anytime soon, that there was a very real possibility of hyperinflation in the near future, that the whole worldwide financial system was incredibly unstable and liable to collapse, that derivatives were another ticking time bomb, that central banking was a complete con. It might alarm some people and they would probably panic. And so he couldn't say that. It wouldn't be good, would it? He really had to tell a little lie, didn't he? To my way of thinking, the banking crisis is just part of a wider collapse scenario which is unfolding. The powers that be were at pains to point out that no losses would be borne by the taxpayers, but that's not true either. There will be a price to pay, and as ever, it will be the ordinary people of the world who will pay the price. Why do I say that? Well, nothing in this world is free. There's always a cost. As I said in other videos, we're headed for hyperinflation. There's been massive currency creation in all countries, and the money supply is going to increase exponentially as a result of the present banking crisis, in a similar way to how it did during the pandemic. Since the financial crisis of 2007-2008, the money supply in the States has increased from $1 trillion to $9 trillion, and it's going to increase a whole lot more. Bear in mind that inflation is defined in classical economics as an increase in the money supply, although more correctly it should be referred to as currency creation. So, to restate this, because it's an incredibly important point, the primary cause of inflation is excessive currency creation, or an increase in the money supply, whatever term you want to use. Again, the cost of excessive currency creation is inflation, or a devaluation of the currency. The crisis in banking will be the mechanism by which our overlords will usher in hyperinflation. Their intention, among other things, is to monetize the debt, but that's just one aspect. Anyway, I think that's what will happen, and more banks are likely to fail, and they will allow that to happen. Then, when it gets really bad, when there's enough public outcry, they'll step in and demand that the systemically important banks be rescued, bailouts basically. The central banks will then be portrayed not as the villains but as the heroes, our saviours, and the people, if they remain ignorant, will thank them for it. It's all done by design. This is all part of their nefarious plans. Rise up and rise up.